guys, this is the Cool Kildy here. Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be looking at the EXs that have been revealed so far for Bandit-Ring. I'm pretty sure these are all the EXs that are going to be in Bandit-Ring. So yeah, the title is All EXs Overview of Bandit-Ring. So yeah, first EX we have up here is Sceptile EX. Now this EX is honestly very mediocre. With 170 HP and 1 retreat cost, it may seem okay, but its very first attack, Sleep Poison, is interesting, although it barely does any damage. Plus you need to get a hit in order for that sleep and poison. Not to mention, for that sleep to really stay, you technically only have a 25% chance. And also, they can always switch out or escape rope, so there's easy ways to get out of that. Its second attack, Assassin Claw, is actually kind of interesting. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 70 more damage. So you could possibly do 130 damage for 2 energy on top of with a Muscle Band with that GlitchxCity gym with that poison. That could be a really strong combination and actually can get you a few knockouts, because that's basically doing 180 damage. However, as I said, there's ways around that poison, and unless you run Hypnotoxic Laser, I don't feel like this is going to be the best combination ever. But I still think this is going to be a strong deck, and while I say it was mediocre, I think this is going to actually be a pretty strong card. It's just going to be, you just need a few things first to really start up. It might be a little bit of a slower combo at first, because you do need quite a few cards to really just get that going a lot. But if you can get this going every single turn, this is going to be a very strong deck, although I feel like for now it's going to be a bit mediocre as it is still kind of fragile with that fire weakness. Next up we have Mega Sceptile, of course, and honestly I don't think it's that necessary I don't just think it's that necessary. That's an interesting ancient trait which is Stop. Basically it prevents all effects of your opponent's Pokemon's abilities to the Sceptile, so you could hit anything with like Safeguard like Sigilyph. That's kind of interesting, so that's one situation where you might need to use this card. But honestly, other than that situation, you really don't need it, because Virizion does this. Basically does it without a Mega Evolution. Although that Mega Evolution is nice, but you are kind of stopping the amount of power you have. So yeah. And it is kind of, it's trading off power for defense, really. And depending on your situation, this may be an interesting card, but although I feel like usually now in this metagame, it's more about power or locking. So it's not, I don't think it's really worth it to Mega Evolve, but some situations it's always nice to just run one and, you know, just to get it out whenever you will need it. So yeah. The next EX we have is Kyurem EX. This EX is very bad actually. There's nothing special really. Its first attack is not good at all really, especially when there was another Kyurem actually. There's actually another Kyurem that does the exact same thing, but it's not an EX for the first attack, and the second attack is just not that good. For 4 energy you do 130 damage, that's very mediocre. You have to understand that is very mediocre. You discard 1 energy and yeah, your opponent doesn't get to attack the next turn, but we have retreat. You can just retreat, you can just go and switch out, there's things to get around that. There's too many things just stopping this card from being actually that good. Next up we have Pharaoh EX, and this is actually kind of a meh card as well. Thunder Rod is kind of interesting, although you only get to look 4 cards in the deck. So yeah, it's meh. It's not a great attack really. If you have something to manipulate the deck so you get the 4 energies on top, that can be really powerful. But the second attack is really not that good, because for 4 energy you only do 100 damage. And that's all you can do, because it's not affected by weakness, resistance, or any other effect. This may be nice if you ever come across like a Sigilyph or a Suicune, because it does do 100 damage with just the magic number and knocks both of them out. But again, you have to run the light energy. It's 4 energies in total. You could bump knock it down to 3 with the DCE, but I still think it's a really meh card. It's probably not going to hit any competitive tables. And we have Mega Ampharos as well. And this is also kind of an interesting card, although I feel like it's also not going to really hit top tier tables. For 4 energies, again, you do 120 damage, and you can do 50 damage more. And your opponent's active Pokemon can also become paralyzed, and if you do that, you can choose to do that, you have to take 30 damage from yourself. Now, this is interesting, although here's my problem with this. with such an basically you're hitting recoil, but not as much as recoil as you're hitting back. But here's the thing. With 170 damage going to Pokemon, the paralysis is actually kind of unnecessary. Especially when you have that muscle band. When you have a muscle band, you're doing 190 damage. Unless it's a Mega Pokemon, you're not going to need that paralysis. Plus, even if it is, even if you do paralyze it because it's a Wailord or it's a Mega Pokemon, as I said before, again, too many ways to just get past that now. You can switch, Keldeo EX is a great counter to that, so yeah. It's still an interesting card, although I don't feel like it's going to hit top tables. Now this is really the star of the whole entire set, Hoopa EX. This, I think, has some great potential. Its ability, Bandit-Ring, allows you to search for 3 Pokemon EX, excluding Hoopa, show them to your opponent, and put them in your hand. This is actually very powerful in combination with something like Mega Rayquaza EX. This can be the one card that Mega Rayquaza needed in order to really get that good power and good start going. Hoopa EX is gonna be a big contender with that deck, and it's probably gonna hit top tables if this can start going. Its attack is really nothing that special, but sometimes you might want to use it, especially because Mega Rayquaza actually only uses colorless energy. So you could just run Psychic, and sometimes whenever you need that snipe, you can use Hoopa EX. So that's actually a really good combination. You have a Mega Rayquaza can hit the active really hard, and you have Hoopa EX that can hit some range, can do some sniping as well. So that's actually a really cool combo, and I think this might be a pretty strong deck and format. Now we have Machamp EX. I see what they were going with this card, and honestly, I don't. It's a risky, but it's gonna be a fun deck. Basically, the whole thing with this card is you use Thrash first, and yeah, basically you do Thrash, you're now confused. From there you use Crazy Hammer, hope you don't hit yourself in confusion, and do 160 damage and just knock them out. I love that combination. It's really risky, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. Although this may also be good because you have strong energy and the Fighting Stadium. Plus, Hypnotoxic Blazer is very powerful. Not powerful, popular. It is powerful. So yeah, this may be kind of cool, and it may be a really interesting way to counter Hypnotoxic Laser in a way. Because like if they laser you, well, you're gonna hit them for pretty much 180 damage with the strong energy, and the muscle band, yeah, 200 damage. Like yeah, but like they're probably not gonna laser you at that point, and it is weak to Psychic, so something like a Mewtwo EX can just come in and just knock this thing out immediately. But this is still gonna be a really fun and interesting card. Now we have Tyranitar EX. Tyranitar EX is, in my opinion, one of the worst EXs from the set. There's nothing special going for it. It just has really high retreat cost, very mediocre attacks. Nothing special there at all. Now, let's move on to Mega Tyranitar EX, and I'll say this, it has a whopping 240 HP, which is absolutely awesome. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And its attack, Destroyer King, is absolutely insane. And also this card can have 2 tools attached to it. So I would attach 2 Hard Charms, honestly, because Destroyer King, like the name applies, can literally destroy something in a matter of 2 turns, like no matter what, pretty much. Here's the thing, okay? You do 110 damage at first. So yeah, and then you do 16 more damage for each damage counter on the opponent's active Pokemon. I see what they were trying to do with the Tyranitar EX and the Mega Tyranitar EX. You use Ground Break first, get some bench damage, and then Mega Evolve and just do amazing amounts of damage. And if you could pull that off, this could be a really powerful card. But with cards such as Freshwater Set now, this is where that kind of stops. But Mega Tyranitar EX is still an interesting card in general. It's very bulky. It's probably going to be one of the more bulkier cards in our format, so that's where it's going to be really interesting. And not to mention, it could really hit hard if you can get something going pretty well. And the last new EX in the set is Lugia EX. This EX is really mediocre. It's kind of interesting. It does have Aerial Ball, which is basically another version of Mewtwo's attack. Although this is on a colorless Pokemon, which I don't think is going to be that good, because nothing is weak to colorless. So you're not going to get any type of advantage here. You just might as well run a Mewtwo EX, honestly. Deep Hurricane is kind of interesting because you can just use 2 DCEs and then you can do 150 damage just card the stadium, and that'd be kind of cool. Although it's 150 HP of damage, that's actually a pretty awkward range because you can put most of it into 170, but that's not enough to knock out some things out. So that's an awkward range, but it's still an interesting card. I don't think it's gonna be that good because we have Mewtwo EX out there, and we have things that can do more damage and better. It can be more consistent with the amount of energy Deep Hurricane costs. Anyway, guys, we have 3 more cards, although I'm not going to really go through these as much because they're just reprints, basically only shiny versions of Primal Kyogre EX, Primal Groudon EX, Mega Rayquaza EX. They're just shiny versions and they look absolutely fantastic. Only thing different with these cards is they have a new ancient trait where basically you can just go put them down I think it's Primal Evolve? I don't know. Primal Evolve, and basically just go and heal all damage on that Pokemon. That's kind of interesting, and it's just gonna be making them more popular and pretty darn more powerful. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and see you guys next time.